Hello and welcome to a disassembly and reassembly video on the KSC 93R AUTO9, also known as the Robocop gun. First of all, you're going to need two tools if you wish to get the grip off. Just a 5mm flat screwdriver and a PH1 or smaller Phillips drive. First of all, I like to cock my gun to make it a bit easier further on in the disassembly. What you're going to do now, you see there is a small pen here. It's actually a pen. Normally you would just push it and pull the front off, but nope, it goes all the way through. So after pulling this out, the entire front just comes off with no resistance. After that, on the right side again, you have a oval push button right here with the rail release here. You push it and turn, and you will see, because that we cocked the gun, the rail will slide just barely over. Just remove the rail and pull the trigger so that it goes back. This makes it easier in the further procedure of reassembly. So basically your spring will rest right here. Pull it back and remove. And your barrel you push slightly backwards and then up. Now you're left with the inner and outer barrel. Inner barrel just comes right through, and the top rail where the blowback is located. Now always make sure that you have a fresh lubricated O-ring right here to maximize your power output. This is where you do whatever you want, tune it up, clean it up, lubricate it. I just did that, so I'm just going to reassemble it. Inner barrel simply slides through. Gonna make sure that this little mechanism is facing upwards. Let it fall through and go into these grooves. Now you can push the inner barrel over the gas system. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky for the first couple of times you're doing it. Gotta reinsert the spring onto the lower hatch right here. I will focus. On the lower hatch down here, you are going to insert it and it will hold itself in place. And now for yet another tricky part. Most blowback guns have a spring guide. This doesn't. So when you put the body onto the top rail, you're going to just wiggle it a bit. Now note that if you're pushing the spring, if you're pushing the spring part out here, you're not in it. And as you see, this simply slides on like so. Now just apparently wiggle a bit more with it. Pull it back and release the rail release. And check the front piece as desired. Mount it on there. Push the pen through. Insert the magazine. And you're good to go. Now on the grip disassembly and reassembly, there are a bit tricky parts. First of all, take your PH1 screwdriver, remove the small screw inserted on the right side of the gun. Then you take your flat screwdriver and unscrew once in the grip itself. This side comes off, where you have the trigger system and the system that switch between automatic and semi-automatic, or in my case, semi, fully, and reverse mode. Now, on the left side of the grip gets a bit tricky. There was no instructions whatsoever anywhere to be found, so I had to learn this the hard way. And if you're having issues with the switch between semi and fully automatic, not really wanting to do anything, just flopping around, this is why. The button will go downwards beyond its limits when the stock is off, and you will see a small bearing right there. Now this one will just fall right out, and it did that when I had to learn it the hard way. I couldn't figure out where it was because this one flapped up, so there was no hole. Not much more to say about that, but if you have this trouble, whoops, now don't lose it. Insert it back into this tiny little hole, pull up a bit while you're at it, and there it goes. Now when your little ball bearing is inserted, do not switch from fully automatic to semi-automatic, because what will happen is this little spring right here will fire out. This goes with the hook downwards if you happen to do so. There's a small hook on the spring, it goes downwards, just to inform you. Oh. I'll put it on again. While I'm reassembling this, just a quick word, always remember to use the lubrication specified by manufacturer. In my case, I got a little spray bottle from KSC of some high grade silicone oil, and if specified that you can use anything, just go ahead. But in most cases, just stick with what the manufacturer provided. That way you will have no way of accidentally damaging it by using too low grade silicone oil, and your warranty will not be broken. Whoops. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. I hope it was informative and helpful to cleaning, maintaining, and perhaps tuning your gun. A little extra tip: when you pull back the slide, you have a little tool to insert right here. This will adjust your hop up. Now, when you're cleaning your gun or just taking it apart, it's always a great idea to have the hop up all the way down, otherwise you may risk damaging it. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful.